Following Exar Kun's harrowing Great Sith War and his ultimate defeat, a brief period of peace enveloped the galaxy. But alas, this was not to last, thanks to the Mandalorians and the machinations of the hidden Sith Empire. As discussed in the last video in this series, the Mandalorians had allied with the Sith and the dark side cult of the Krath against the Jedi and the Republic during the Great Sith War. But unlike Exar Kun's Sith forces, or the Krath forces of Empress Teta, the Mandalorians were not utterly defeated. Indeed, the Republic allowed them to keep many of the worlds they had gained during their expansionist war. But although they had expanded their territory, the Mandalorians were weakened, their numbers depleted by the deadly Great Sith War. But in 3978 BBY, a pivotal moment unfolded that would alter the course of history for the Mandalorian people and the galaxy at large. The Mandalorians' leader, Mandalore the Ultimate, was approached by a mysterious figure, a member of the Sith species. Presenting himself as a diplomat of a formidable Sith Lord, this stranger sought the Mandalorians' assistance in uncovering the resting place of Dramath the Second on the frostbitten planet of Rekkiad. Upon the discovery of the tomb, the emissary revealed a prophecy of conquest and victory. He spoke of a vision bestowed upon his master, a future painted in the broad strokes of war where the Mandalorians, under the banner of their indomitable leader, would surge across the Republic, laying claim to world after world in a relentless tide of conquest, culminating in the ultimate demise of the Republic under their might. The idea of invading the Republic, seeded by the Sith's subtle machinations and Sith sorcery, took root in Mandalore's mind, blossoming into a fervent desire to achieve this envisioned glory. Under the Sith's cruel spell and seeking to prove himself worthy of the title Mandalore the Ultimate, he travelled to the religious world of Shogun for guidance. There, a revelation awaited him, a vision possibly orchestrated by the Sith Emperor showing the imminent extinction of his own people, the Tang, a noble yet dwindling race that had borne the brunt of the catastrophic Great Sith War. With a heavy heart, Mandalore broadened the horizons of what it meant to be a Mandalorian. He extended the mantle of Mandalorian tradition beyond the confines of blood and lineage, allowing anyone to join their ranks. Subsequently, Mandalore the Ultimate issued a galvanizing call to arms. He reached out to those who yearned for purpose, craved honor, and lusted after the spoils of war. The allure of becoming part of something greater, of fighting for glory and honor, proved irresistible to many. In the year 3976 BBY, the galaxy witnessed the burgeoning might of Mandalore the Ultimate's forces as they embarked on a strategic offensive against unaligned worlds. The first target in their sight was Altair III, an industrial world nestled within the Outer Rim territories. The raid was both swift and devastating, transforming the planet into a crucial cog within the vast war machine that the Mandalorians were meticulously assembling. 3 years following this initial assault, Mandalore's ambition drove his forces to a planet known for its fierce and proud inhabitants, the world of Cathar. The attack on this world was not just a military operation, but a display of cold, calculated brutality. Under the direction of Cassius Fett, Mandalore's chief lieutenant and a strategist of ruthless efficiency, the Mandalorian onslaught reached new levels of cruelty. Fett ordered the defenseless Cathar population to be driven en masse into the sea, a merciless act that culminated in a horrific massacre. Amidst this chaos, a solitary Mandalorian woman dared to voice her dissent, a futile gesture that led to her death alongside the very people she sought to defend. Over 90% of the Cathar population was wiped out in an act of genocide that would remain a dark stain on the Mandalorian campaign. The Republic, aware of this atrocity, chose silence over action, fearing that public knowledge would ignite widespread demands for retribution against the Mandalorians, a decision that would have grave consequences in the years to come. Mandalore the Ultimate's campaign did not halt at Cathar. His forces extended their reach across the galaxy, targeting worlds such as Cosnin and Azor, and venturing into territories as far-flung as the Tion hegemony and Hutt space. Faced with the relentless advance of Mandalore's forces, the Hutts were compelled to hire mercenary armies for their defense. However, in a twist of fate, these mercenaries often found themselves swayed by the Mandalorian cause, joining the very ranks of those they were hired to oppose. As the Mandalorian Empire embarked on its path of expansion, it was inevitable that their ambition would bring them into direct conflict with the Galactic Republic. The Mandalorians advanced along the strategic corridor known as the Mandalorian Road, marking their progress with the capture of pivotal worlds. In the months that ensued, Mandalore the Ultimate set his sights on Soldier, an agrarian world situated along the vital cordon between Tarnith and Jebel, serving as a gateway for further incursions into Republic space. The initial attempt to siege Soldier sparked a confrontation with Republic forces, led by the capable Captain Krath. The battle, though, ended inconclusively, with neither side ready to commit to a full-scale war, at least not yet. As the Mandalorian threat loomed ever larger, the Jedi Order found itself mired in internal conflict and philosophical division. Amidst this uncertainty emerged a dynamic and persuasive young Jedi, whose ideals and convictions would soon ignite a significant movement within the Order. This Jedi, fueled by a passionate belief in the necessity of action against the Mandalorians, began to advocate for a bold doctrine of Revankism, the reclaiming of territories lost to the encroaching Mandalorian forces. His views, radical and controversial, clashed with the prevailing sentiments of the Jedi High Council. The Council, steeped in conservatism and cautious of the corrupting influence of the dark side, resisted the idea of intervening in the conflict. Undeterred by the Council's skepticism, the young Jedi, bolstered by the guidance of his mentor, Krath, started to openly challenge the Jedi leadership. His charismatic charm and fervent call to action attracted a cadre of followers, kindred spirits within the Order who shared his desire for a proactive stance against the Mandalorian menace. Among these followers was his close companion Alec, who would stand by his side through the unfolding events. The Republic media, captivated by their cause and charisma, dubbed their leader the Jedi's own Crusader, a monarch that encapsulated both the admiration and controversy their movement inspired. Amidst this backdrop, the Crusader and his followers discovered the brutal reality of the Mandalorian campaign upon the planet of Cathar. The revelation of the massacre through a Force vision galvanized his resolve to confront the Mandalorian menace head-on. The unearthing of the Mandalorian mask belonging to the sole descendant of Cassius Fett's genocidal orders marked a pivotal moment for the Revankist leader. In a symbolic act of defiance and commitment, he donned the mask of this Mandalorian dissenter, embracing his identity as Revan, vowing to confront the Mandalorians at any cost. As the Revankists gained momentum, the Jedi Order faced another crisis that would further erode the public's trust. The Padawan Massacre, a horrifying event that saw the deaths of several Jedi apprentices, cast a long shadow over the Order. Though the atrocity was the work of a covert and misguided Jedi faction named the Covenant, the blame was erroneously placed on Zane Carrick, a young and innocent Jedi Padawan who, as we shall see, played a large role in the Mandalorian Wars. Identifying the inner turmoil and the Jedi's policy of non-intervention as vulnerability, Mandalore ordered a bold assault on the planet Vanquo, marking a pivotal point in the war. The Battle of Vanquo not only demonstrated the overwhelming might of the Mandalorian forces, but also shattered the Republic's defensive line. As the Mandalorians advanced, their strategy evolved into a multifaceted offensive known as the Onslaught, which saw the breaching of Republic defenses across multiple sectors. As the Mandalorian onslaught tore through the galaxy, the Republic Senate was forced to acknowledge the severity of the threat, compelling it to mobilize the full might of the Republic Navy in a bid to stem the tide of the Mandalorians' advances. In response to the escalating conflict, the remnants of the Republic's Outer Rim fleets were ordered to retreat to the Core Worlds, a move that saw Captain Saul Krath elevated to the rank of Rear Admiral. The Republic's strategy relied on the presumption of Mandalorian restraint from attacking military targets, which Krath had nestled within civilian populations. However, Mandalore the Ultimate perceived this defensive posture as lacking in honor. Determined to dispel this notion and to punish the Republic for its cowardice, Mandalore executed a devastating counter-strategy. Launching nuclear warheads that bypassed Republic naval defenses, the Mandalorians struck directly at Serreco's surface. The warheads targeted 27 population centers, obliterating most of the cities in a cataclysmic display of power and leaving the Republic's defensive strategy in ruins. In the wake of the devastation wrought upon Sereko, a bold and audacious plan was set in motion by Lord Adiska, the ambitious head of Adiska Biomechanical Corporation of Arcania. With a vision that tread the line between genius and madness, Adiska coerced the talented but reluctant scientist Gorman Van Drake into completing a groundbreaking but morally dubious project, the weaponization of exogorths, by equipping them with hyperdrives and control devices to manipulate their movements, feeding and reproduction rates. Adiska envisioned these titanic creatures as the ultimate weapon, capable of consuming entire planets, thereby positioning himself as a formidable power in the galactic arena. Convinced of his newfound supremacy, Adiska orchestrated an auction that would showcase the terrifying potential of the exogorths to the galaxy's major factions. The event was held aboard the Arcanian Legacy, his flagship, in the remote Ominoth system. This event drew the attention of key figures in the ongoing conflict: Jedi Revan, Mandalore the Ultimate, and Admiral Saul Krath of the Republic Navy. Each was invited to witness firsthand the power that Adiska claimed could decide the fate of the galaxy. Mandalore the Ultimate, ever strategic, proposed to integrate Adiscorp as the Mandalorians' exclusive weapons provider. The auction, however, was doomed to unravel. A cunning plan orchestrated by Zane Carrick misled Mandalore into believing the auction was a trap designed to assassinate him. This deception triggered a violent outbreak aboard the Arcanian Legacy, as Mandalorian warriors, Adiska's security personnel, and Republic soldiers found themselves embroiled in a chaotic confrontation. Amidst the turmoil, Van Drake, the reluctant inventor of these modified exogorths, turned them against the Arcanian Legacy, leading to the death of Lord Adiska. Then, with a conscience burdened by the potential havoc the exogorths could wreak across the galaxy, Van Drake fled to wild space with his creations. Van Drake's actions not only thwarted Adiska's grandiose ambitions, but also removed a potentially catastrophic weapon from the galactic chessboard, marking a dramatic conclusion to one of the most audacious plots during the Mandalorian Wars. But in their relentless quest for supremacy, the Mandalorians soon turned their attention to another formidable weapon, delving deep into the dark recesses of ancient Sith lore. The Mandalorian Pulsifer made a groundbreaking discovery beneath the surface of Taris. Hidden within the depths of the Undercity, he found the Mur Talisman, a Sith artifact of immense, malevolent energy, believed to house the spirit of its creator, the Sith Lord Karness Mur. Eager to harness its power, Pulsifer secured the talisman. However, the artifact's dark influence quickly manifested, biting one of Pulsifer's men. This unfortunate soul underwent a horrific transformation into a Rakghoul, a zombie-like being of nightmare and legend, thereby unleashing the dreaded Rakghoul plague among the Mandalorian ranks. The situation rapidly spiraled out of control, as the infected Mandalorian became the vector for a rapidly spreading contagion, transforming his comrades into Rakghouls. The talisman attempted to claim the Force-sensitive Zane Carrick as his new host. However, in a selfless act of sacrifice, Celeste Morn, a fellow Jedi, intervened, allowing herself to be possessed by the spirit of Karness Mur. Morn assumed control over the Rakghouls, turning the Mandalorian army stationed on the planet into an army of these monstrous beings. Yet Zane Carrick, through a combination of persuasion and the strength of their bond, managed to reach Morn's true self. Acknowledging the magnitude of the threat posed by the Mur Talisman, Morn agreed to a drastic measure to prevent further catastrophe. She would be sealed away forever in a stasis casket, designed to contain her and the talisman's corrupting influence. Around this time, the Jedi Order found itself engulfed in internal strife and manipulation, a shadow war within its own ranks that would have far-reaching consequences. The Jedi Council, once a bastion of wisdom and guidance for the galaxy, turned decisively against Revan and his followers. Their stance on intervening in the Mandalorian conflict, once a topic of heated debate, now became the grounds for their ostracization and the issuance of arrest warrants against them. But unbeknownst to many, the Order had been infiltrated and swayed by a secretive and malevolent force, the Covenant. This group of zealous Jedi operated under the guise of protecting the galaxy from the dark side, but was in fact orchestrating a sinister plot from within. The Covenant, led by Hazen, a figure whose ambitions and delusions of grandeur drove him to emulate the Sith, had been secretly responsible for the murder of numerous Jedi apprentices, an atrocity blamed on Zane Carrick. Under Hazen's direction, the Covenant executed a bold and ruthless coup against the Jedi Council. Utilizing their covert influence, they commandeered control of the Republic's fleet, launching devastating attacks against those Jedi who stood in opposition to their dogmatic vision. This insidious betrayal not only endangered the lives of countless Jedi, but also threatened the very foundation of the Order and the Republic it served. However, Hazen's reign of terror was brought to an abrupt end, his ambitions extinguished along with his life. The exposure of the Covenant's heinous acts led to the disbanding of the cult, and the exoneration of Zane Carrick, whose name had been wrongfully tarnished by their machinations. Around the same time, some Jedi Council members decided to intervene in the war, albeit on the side of the Mandalorians. Led by Jedi Council member Dorjander Case, he believed the Republic was corrupt, and the Mandalorians could be changed into the new honorable rulers of the galaxy. This group believed in a fusion of Jedi principles and Mandalorian valor, an attempt to bridge two worlds through a shared commitment to strength and honor. But this commitment to honor did not last long. Case's first plan involved the abduction of younglings from the Jedi Enclave on Dantooine. Mandalore the Ultimate, recognizing the potential of incorporating Jedi prowess into his forces, endorsed Case's scheme, offering them both the younglings for training and a contingent of Mandalorian warriors to assist in the operation. The Mandalorian Knights' swift and decisive action ensured the success of their mission, securing the students with minimal resistance. This moment of triumph, however, was short-lived. The inherent distrust of the Jedi among the Mandalorian ranks soon came to a fore, casting a shadow of doubt over the loyalty and intentions of Case. This skepticism led to a sudden and unexpected withdrawal of support for Case's initiative by the Mandalorians supporting him, leaving the Mandalorian Knights in a precarious position. It was within this chaos that Zane Carrick intervened. Carrick's persuasive efforts culminated in Case's decision to surrender, a choice that led to the capture and trial of both Case and his knights. Around this same time, the galaxy witnessed a period of unprecedented Mandalorian successes known as the Mandalorian Triumph. This period was marked by a series of aggressive offensive and strategic victories that underscored the Mandalorians' formidable military prowess and their relentless drive for conquest. From the outset of this phase, the Mandalorians embarked on a campaign that saw them navigating a complex web of hyperspace routes to extend their dominion across the galaxy. Their journey of conquest began from the Dernatine system, from which they advanced along the lesser Lantilian route to subjugate the Charod system. Their momentum carried them further along the Great Kashyyyk branch and the Randan Run, as they set their sights on the strategically invaluable Randon system. With each victory, their path carved deeper into Republic's territories, bringing them closer to the core worlds. The campaign reached its zenith as the Mandalorians targeted the Exodine system, setting the stage for their assault on the shipyard world of Juro. Juro, known for its vital orbital cities and shipyards, was subjected to devastating bombardment by Basilisk war droids, and brought the Mandalorians one step closer to galactic domination. But as the Mandalorian Wars raged on, the tide began to turn under the leadership of Revan, who assumed command of the Republic Navy with a strategic acumen that would become the stuff of legend. Over the course of a year, Revan's guidance on the battlefield shifted the dynamics of the conflict, propelling the Republic from a defensive stance into a series of aggressive offenses that would see them reclaiming lost territories and striking back against the Mandalorian advance. However, this newfound momentum came at a steep price, both morally and ethically, as Revan's tactics grew increasingly ruthless. Driven by a conviction to end the war at any cost, Revan began to exhibit a willingness to make sacrifices that shocked many within the Republic and the Jedi Order. Entire populations and critical planets were deemed expendable if it meant securing a strategic advantage elsewhere. This cold calculus marked a dark turn in Revan's campaign, blurring the lines between necessity and ambition, and sowing the seeds of his eventual fall to the dark side. As Revan's strategies grew more daring and his victories grander, the Republic saw a slow but significant counteroffensive. However, the victories were marred by vast numbers of casualties on both sides. a testament to the war's brutality and Revan's descent into darkness. The climactic battle at Mandalore 5 marked a turning point in the Mandalorian Wars, a meticulously crafted endgame by Revan to conclude the conflict decisively. The mass shadow generator, a superweapon of unparalleled destructive capability, was Revan's ace in the hole, designed to ensnare the Mandalorians in a trap from which there was no escape. Revan's deployment of the fleet, bifurcated and commanded in part by Meetra Surik, was a calculated risk to draw the Mandalorians into the weapon's lethal embrace. As the battle raged in the Malachor system, a pivotal moment unfolded away from the chaos of the fleet engagement. Mandalore the Ultimate, sensing the tide of defeat against the Republic's reinforcement, issued a personal challenge to Revan, a duel of honor and finality aboard his flagship. Revan accepted, stepping into the fray against the Mandalorian leader. The ensuing duel was a testament to the skill and might of both warriors, but ultimately Revan emerged victorious. In his final moments, Mandalore, unmasked and grievously wounded, revealed a truth that transcended the immediate conflict: the Sith's manipulation of the Mandalorian campaign as a tool against the Republic. The breaking of the Sith's spell in his dying breath allowed Mandalore to impart crucial information to Revan, along with the coordinates of the Sith. Revan, in taking Mandalore's mask, claimed more than a trophy of war. He seized a symbol of leadership and unity for the Mandalorians, thereby fracturing their command structure and preventing the immediate rise of a successor. In the final moments of the conflict, as Revan's forces methodically pushed the Mandalorians back towards the doomed planet, the decision to activate the mass shadow generator was made, a decision that would result in catastrophic losses on an unimaginable scale. Under the command of Meetra Surik, the mass shadow generator was activated. As Revan and Surik looked on, the mass shadow generator unleashed its terrible power. The weapon created a gravitational anomaly of such intensity that it drew in both fleets, Mandalorian and Republic alike, crushing them against Malachor 5's surface. The devastation was absolute. Ships were obliterated and the planet's surface was destroyed, its core fractured by the immense forces at play. The death toll was staggering. While the Mandalorians bore the brunt of these losses, the Republic's casualties were also profound, with tens of thousands of lives extinguished in moments. The destruction wrought by the mass shadow generator did more than just annihilate fleets and mar a planet. It caused a profound disturbance in the Force, a wound so deep that it resonated across the galaxy. The horrific effects of this will be explored later on in the series. The aftermath of the battle saw the broken remnants of the Mandalorian forces transmitting their unconditional surrender to the Republic. This act marked the end of the Mandalorian Wars, but the victory was Pyrrhic. The physical and psychological scars borne by those who survived would linger, shaping the destiny of the Republic, the Jedi Order, and the galaxy itself in the years to come. Against the wishes of the Jedi Council, who wanted them to stand trial, Revan and his apprentice Alec would leave the known galaxy, seeking to confirm Mandalore the Ultimate's story about a hidden Sith Empire that had secretly orchestrated the Mandalorian War. Their exploration would eventually lead them to the hidden Sith Empire in the Unknown Regions, a discovery which would cement their descent towards the way of the Sith, and eventually lead to the next chapter in galactic history, Revan and Malak's devastating Jedi Civil War. Subscribe with the notifications on for the next enthralling chapter, detailing both the rise and fall of Darth Revan.